Hi, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is Authors of DNF. So these are popular authors, popular enough that I think you've heard of them and this video will be interesting, that I picked up one book by them, DNF'd that book, and have not picked up anything else. It's been enough time that it's unlikely that I'll pick them back up. So I'm not necessarily proud of this list, and this is nothing against these authors, right? Not a single solitary thing against these authors. Every book is not for everybody, and DNFing a book is not like a moral judgment or like it's not moral most of the time, right? It's just I didn't feel like reading that book at that time, and I DNF'd, which I DNF all the time for all the reasons, but you know, I don't talk about my DNFs and my wrap-ups. I say how many books I DNF'd, but I don't go into specifics, and I don't do like a quarterly DNF wrap-up or anything like that. So most of the time I don't talk about my specific DNFs. I feel like the most likely you are to hear about a specific book that I DNF'd is if I'm in the live show and we're talking about a book and somebody asks me if I've read it and I say I DNF'd it, because I don't like to, like, I'm not over there commenting on people's videos, oh, you love that book, I DNF'd it. You know, so I don't talk about my DNFs all that much, and I DNF all the time. So this is nothing against these authors. In fact, I am very willing to have my mind changed about these. So if you think that I should pick this book back up or try another book by the same author, and you're like, Heather, you specifically are going to like this, like, I would be shocked if you didn't, give it a try, let me know. I'm very open to having my mind changed. And also go ahead and comment whichever you think is the most shocking. So these are books that I've DNF'd over like the last 3 years or so. So you've probably heard of all of them. All right, the first one is Dark Lover, which is Black Dagger Brotherhood #1 by J.R. Ward. This is the first book in a really popular vampire series. And here's why I DNF'd it. First of all, it's the first book in a series, so obviously there's a lot of world building, there's a lot going on, and we were taking forever to get to the point, and I could not have cared less. But that's not even the main reason. The main reason is that the vampire hero was wearing tiny little sunglasses and a long black leather trench coat duster. And all I could picture was the Matrix, and that just does not do anything for me. Like, I was kind of repulsed by the hero, and I tried to keep pushing through, but all I could picture was the Matrix, which I don't like. Like, I don't like that look. I cannot tell you how much that style, like those fashion choices, bother me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm a 90s baby and I don't know. I don't know. But I hate it so much. So the hero's actually blind, so it makes sense for him to have sunglasses, but it was the style. It was the style choice of which sunglasses he was wearing and which coat he was wearing that I just really could not get over. And if you watch all my videos, you know, like, I don't see things super clearly when I read, but because I have, you know, seen the pictures of the Matrix and like some of the movies and stuff, that specific style choice was like imprinted in my mind. I was like, oh, I hate this. So that's why. Is that a good reason? Doesn't matter. It's my reason. Then I have Her Soul to Take, which is Soul's Trilogy #1 by Harley LaRue. I was in the middle of the dark romance readathon, like the first round, and I wasn't entertained. Like, I was bored, and it was longer, and I was like, I don't know if I want to spend the rest of my readathon trying to like make it through this book that I'm not really feeling. This is like a demon dark romance with, I don't know, I always feel it's like very goth or punk, and I hear like such good things about the author. Like, I feel like I would really like them, but for some reason I just cannot like bring myself to pick this back up. And I think I would read The Dare by them, but it's not available on Amazon, and your girl just will not take an extra step or jump through hoops to get a book. I just won't read it. I'm sorry. I was bored. I was bored. and it was the readathon, and I was like, it's fine, we'll pick it up again another day. And it's been like a year and a half, so seems unlikely. Then I have Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nacosta. This is obviously a really popular monster romance. It's minotaurs, and they collect their bodily fluids to make little blue pills to help human men. Interesting, and I've heard so much how like sweet the romance is in kind of this really bonkers setting. Now obviously this book really put the author on the map. Like, we all heard of them because of this book, right? Well, I was reading along, and it's a milking farm, and it's like glory holes and stuff, and when like when the penis was described as like this turgid length of hot flesh coming through the wooden hole, I was just like, I'm out. This is I am not having a good time. I am done. I just can't accept that creative choice. And this is where it ends for me, and that's been it. That's where my journey ended. Then I have Wolf Gone Wild, which is Stay Is Spell #1 by Julia Wild. So this book has a werewolf trapped inside his human, right? And the werewolf has like this running dialogue, and the werewolf annoyed me so much, and I just cannot read books that annoy me. Like numeral one, I don't want to read books that annoy me. So pretty much as soon as I'm like actively annoyed, there's a very solid chance that I'm going to DNF a book. And this werewolf just annoyed me from like the very first page. I think I made it like a chapter, 2 chapters maybe. And this series is like so popular, and I'm just like, oh, but he was so annoying. It was so annoying. And you know, it's this werewolf, he's going to a witch to try and get help so his werewolf can come out because he's under a curse. But I was like, okay, I don't think the humor is going to work for me, because I feel like this is supposed to be funny, and I just want to slap the ever-loving crud out of this werewolf, and we're barely in it, so I left. I do have Forged in Fire by this author. Like, I already own it, and I haven't picked it up because I disliked this one so much. I also don't know if maybe I should skip this one or read another book in the series. I don't know, but it hasn't happened. I just haven't read anything else, and here we are. Next, I have Finley Donovan Is Killing It, which is Finley Donovan #1 by L. Casamano. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Finley Donovan, cozy mystery type thing. I don't know if there's any romance, but she has an ex-husband, and like the stress and frustration of dealing with this very uncooperative ex and having her little girls and needing money and all the things. I didn't even make it to like the killing part. She's an author, and someone overhears her talking about her book and thinks that she's actually like a killer for hire and hires her to kill someone. I never made it to all that because I was so stressed out by the family situation. I was just like, ugh, ooh, how long is this gonna last? I don't like this. I get that I'm like probably supposed to really hate you, but I really hate you, man. I really hate you, and I don't want to spend any more time with you. So I DNF'd it in like chapter 1 or 2. Then I have How to Bang a Billionaire, which is Arden St. Ives #1 by Alexis Hall. Bree, I Love Words, loves this stuff, and Novelty Corner loves this. Obviously, they are buddy reading Alexis Hall like all the time. And this is like a male feather rep 50 Shades of Grey type thing. Like, he's a billionaire, BDSM, tortured past, all the things, right? Here's the thing though, it did this thing that I just cannot abide. I hate this narrative device. I hate it. Every single time I'm like, I am not gonna like this book. And that is where like the prologue is the conflict that is coming at the end of the book, where like they break up or walk away, or it's like, you know, it's 10 years later and I go back to the summer that I was in love. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I truly don't think I've ever read a book that used that I enjoyed. Like, I just hate it. So like it did that and I was just like, oh, no. No, you can't let me know that like this book is ending with a dumb breakup where it's like, no, my tortured past won't let me be happy. No. This is one of those where I feel like that's the wrong choice, that I should pick up something else by him. You know, great representation. I hear nothing but great things about his work, and yet here we are. Like, I tried to read it like last year. I haven't picked up anything else. Here we are. Then I have Only When It's Us, which is Bergman Brothers #1 by Chloe Leese. All right, hear me out. Hear me out. Because I feel like a lot of people are about to just give up on me. This is your friendly reminder that just because I DNF a book does not mean that the book is bad. Like, that sometimes means that, but often doesn't. I just tend to not read books that aren't for me, or that I'm not in the mood for, or whatever the reason might be. Even if I'm just like having trouble getting through it, I'll just DNF it, right? So this one, the mom has cancer, and I think very clearly is like going to die later on in the book. And I just have such a hard time consuming any sort of media where I know tragedy is coming. I just, like, obviously I'll cry every time, but I just, like, I dread it in my heart, and I just have trouble making myself consume it, whether that's a movie or a TV show or obviously books. And the beginning of the book is a bit slow, you know, it's not quite the pacing that I like, but I really did love the characters. They have like enemies to lovers. They're in college. She's a soccer player. He used to be a soccer player but had an injury and is now partially deaf. And this is one of those authors where she wrote the representation and got a lot of feedback that it was not good, right? Even though like she had people in her life who had the same type of injury and type of resulting condition, she still got a lot of feedback that it wasn't good. So instead of throwing a massive hissy fit and talking about how my husband has it and he says it's fine or whatever, she changed the representation. She went in and edited it with sensitivity readers and all the things, and just did exactly what you should do when you get feedback like that. And I just respect her so much for that. She has a lot of different chronic illness and disability representations in this series, and that's great. Like, I would love that no matter what. But the fact that she listened to feedback, didn't throw a fit, and changed it, just truly, I have so much respect for her, right? I was already reading like a few things that I was kind of making myself pick up, and so it just wasn't the best timing. But the reason why I haven't picked it back up is because I don't want to, you know, watch her lose her mom. I just like, I can get myself all worked up without even having read it. So I've considered skipping the rest of this book, or maybe you should tell me if maybe I should finish this book. I've considered skipping it and picking up, you know, one of the next couple books of the series. I do think that her writing is a bit like traditionally published formatting, I guess, for me, but I could still read it occasionally, you know, so I could still read her, but I haven't, and I don't know if I should try and finish this book or if I should skip it, or, you know, sometimes you can really respect an author and know that a series is good and is a good recommendation, but you don't have to consume it yourself. So I don't know what to do here. I feel guilty about it, but also I don't, because I'm just like, you're not hurting anybody by not finishing a book. You're allowed to DNF any book for any reason. So that was my reason, and I don't feel good about that one, but I do feel good about it for me and where I was when I was reading it. So then I have Thirsty, which is East Side Brewery #1 by Mia Hopkins. Especially like the most recent release in the series is Beloved. This is Latinx rep, I think, I want to say, an author. I know if I'm wrong. He was like in a gang and then went to prison and then came out, and the gang is like trying to pressure him into getting back in, and he's trying not to. And she's like from his neighborhood, and her grandma lets him live in their garage, and she has a daughter. She's very skeptical and like untrusting of him. And I was a little bit bored. I just didn't really care to finish. And I'm just like, is this a me problem? Do you like need to get through the first 50% of the book and then like you'll fall in love? Like, what is the issue here? Because I've heard nothing but good things, and I didn't care like about the characters or anything. And I was like, I don't know. What is it, me? Am I the problem? Or is it you? I don't know. But, you know, I DNF'd and haven't picked it back up. Then I have Irresistible, which is Cloverleaf Farms #1 by Melanie Harlow. I've heard nothing but great things about this series, about the small town stuff. Annoyed me so much. She's like a full-grown adult, and he works for her family's ranch or farm or whatever it is. And he is older than she is and has a child, right? He's a single dad, and she nannies for him. Like, she starts nannying for him in the book, and they like can't get together because of her family. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but you're an adult, so like it doesn't matter with your sisters or brother. I don't remember if she had brothers, or dad, or like, it doesn't matter what they think about your relationship. You're an adult. Like, I get that. And also, this is something that annoys me, and I don't know if it's something that should annoy me, but it does. She had like a heart condition, and so her family like was very overprotective of her and wouldn't let her do anything. And it's like, again, but you're an adult. Like, I understand, you know, your family being really protective of you as a child, and you not having the power to change anything about that, but you're an adult. And I'm sorry, since when does having a heart issue mean that you can't be trusted to decide relationships for yourself? Like, that type of thing, I can think of so many books with it in it. I just get so annoyed every single time, because I'm like, stand up to your family. You're an adult. And even if you have a relationship that doesn't end up being the love of your life, so what? As long as it's not abusive, they have no business, you know, not supporting you in your decisions. They can definitely say, hey, I'm not sure about this guy, but just, you know, say it the one time or whatever. Don't have it be this antagonistic, you can't be around us, you can't live with us if you don't, like, ugh. So yeah, I hated that. Then I have Hot and Badgered, which is Honey Badger Chronicles #1 by Shelley Lawrenson. I think that this is very much either for you or not for you, and it was not for me. I did not think it was funny. This is like Honey Badger shifters, and it's over the top shenanigans, and I was just like, all of you are dumb. Like, what are we doing right now? Because this seems like a really bad idea, and I just can't support it. And I thought I was supposed to be laughing my head off, and I wasn't laughing at all. And I was like, this seems wild and weird and wacky, and maybe not for me. Then I have The Lady and the Orc, which is Orc Sworn #1 by Finley Fenn. I like orcs as love interests, as mythological creatures. I think they're cool. There are definitely some, you know, good old racist origins behind it, but so I think you need to be careful with it. but I do really like it. I think they're a very interesting mythological creature, and I am always interested when I hear that the orc is the love interest. Also, I'm into like a little bit of Dub Con and Captive Captor and like all those things. All those things sound like good to me if they are done to my taste. There's a lot of fluids, which that wasn't really the reason why I DNF'd, but there's a lot of fluids. There was a lot of, I was like, I'm not actually into this at all. So there was that, but then it was very clear from what was written on page that the orc was going to betray her. I like wasn't really into her the way that she was into him, and all the things that he was saying about how he loved her and stuff or whatever, or she's gonna be his queen or whatever it is, I don't even remember. He didn't really mean it. Like he was saying other things to other characters. So I actually looked up reviews for this one and was like, you know, does all of this conflict happen early? Like, are we going to get them as a happy couple later? And it was like, he was such a jerk to the very last page. The way he betrayed her and everything. I was like, ah, okay. All right. No. That's not what I like. Like, if you're the love interest, I need you to be worthy of the person that you love. So at no point do I want her to love you unrequited. Do I want her to love you and you betray her? I just am not into it. Why? Because I would not want it done to me. And as much as like I will read serial killers or Captive Captor or like all these things that I really don't want to happen to me, emotionally, I need my couple to behave in a way that I would be okay with in a relationship, or I will get my feelings hurt and or be annoyed and or be like, you deserve to die. Which, you know, is not what you're supposed to feel about the love interest. You're supposed to be rooting for him. So I need him to get his act together, and if he does it, I will probably DNF the book and or rate it really low. The last one, another one I'm not necessarily proud of, but it exists, is American Dreamer, which is Dreamers #1 by Adriana Herrera. So this is a contemporary male-male romance. The series is queer overall, but not everyone is male-male books, which I appreciate in series. We've got this food truck owner and this librarian. The food truck owner is an immigrant. It has been like 2.5 years since I read this. And they're like very insta-lust and chemistry and stuff, but there's like this Karen, like the true Karen character that is trying to get his food truck shut down for unknown racist reasons. And also I think like she's trying to get her son in that location or something like that, right? And she's just causing all these problems for them for no reason. And she, oh, again, it's the annoyance. I was so annoyed by her because she was the worst. I was just like, oh, like, can we just deal with you? Go away. I don't like being annoyed in my books. And I was like trying to persevere because I was just like, no, like everyone raves about this book and this author has such good rep and like all the things. Like I want to be one of the fans. But I also just wanted to stab this Karen, and I feel like that's what you were supposed to feel. But again, I don't like that feeling in my books. So it's not that the writing was bad, it's that the writing is so good. They're doing what they're trying to do, and you're just like, oh, but I don't want to feel that. And yeah, I made it a decent amount, maybe like close to halfway or something like that. And I was just like, she needs to go. She needs to go. I can't do this. And yeah, I DNF'd. So I never got to see her get her comeuppance, so I do still think about it. And sometimes I put other books by her on the TBR and then I just take them off without ever having read them. It's just, it's a mess. It's a whole mess. So that's my list of shame. Some of these I'll stand by, but some of them I'm just like, ugh. Did you really DNF that? So let me know which books maybe I should continue, or which authors and which book by that author I should give another chance. I very well might do a reading vlog of trying to like some of the things on this list. So definitely comment and tell me which ones they should be, and I will do my best. But yeah, let me know maybe your most controversial DNF, or which DNF on my list you think is the most controversial, or even a popular book that you did read and you're just like, oh, I wish I DNF'd or never picked up because I hated it. I'd love to hear. And again, this is nothing against these books. It's nothing against the people who love these books, many of which are my friends. Like, a lot of my friends, like, all-time favorites are on this list. I'm so sorry. You know, like, it doesn't mean that they're bad, and it definitely doesn't mean that they're not for you. They just weren't for me, at least in that moment in time when I tried to pick them up. So let me know all of the things. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!